In the past, Assam was known for prolonged drizzle, constant rain that would fall sometimes for days and even weeks. Now that seems to have changed, and now we are seeing a very heavy rainfall happening in a very short period of time.
Every monsoon, normal life is severely crippled, at least in some parts of northeast India. So far in 2022, 30 lakh people have been affected by floods in Assam. Silchar in southern Assam was inundated for so long that even funerals could not take place. The damage seen in recent years has not been witnessed before. A dry drought period hits the region after floods. The intensity of these extreme weather events is increasing. What is causing these extreme weather patterns? Is the climate crisis affecting the Northeast more severely than the rest of India? The first thing we need to understand about Northeast India is that its topography is different from mainland India. The region is a biodiversity hotspot and ranks 6th out of 25 hotspots in the world. Most of these states have more than 60% of their area under forest cover. Any change to this fragile biodiversity hotspot has much larger implications for the region. The region has a fragile geoecology. It is located in the eastern Himalayan landscape. Many rivers that flow through the region, like the Brahmaputra and Barak, are trans-boundary rivers, crisscrossing states and even countries. Any changes in the glaciers or the river basins due to climate change can be seen in the northeast region. These are, in fact, a good indicator of climate change for all of India. So when weather patterns start to change here, it is a larger wake-up call.
So when you look at the northeast, temperatures as well as rainfall patterns as well as the magnitude and frequency of the rainfall is changing. So it obviously indicates that climate change is a reality, and yes, it is definitely one of the factors which is bringing about a complete change in the way the climate systems have operated over a period of time.
The recent floods and landslides in Assam, Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur are real-world evidence of this vulnerability. Apart from Assam, 40 people died in Manipur in floods and landslides. The death toll due to similar weather disasters in Meghalaya and Arunachal Pradesh stand at 34 and 17 respectively.
So this year already at this time of the year, we are having twice the amount of rainfall than is normal. Obviously, the kind of infrastructure that has been in place is not built to withstand such kind of weather anomalies.
The pattern of rainfall is such that now it rains like cats and dogs for 2 weeks. June, now you are not seeing any news on floods, right, for example, because it's been so catastrophically hot. Very June, July weather. But the rainfall in the last 2 weeks in Guwahati, I am in Guwahati right now. In Guwahati, the rainfall has not even been close to what it was in the first 2 weeks of June. So June 11 to 18th, we received like mad rainfall. Cherrapunji, for example, had 3 of its 10 wettest days in 1 week. So this is where you see climate change.
A Bengaluru-based think tank, the Center for Study of Science, Technology and Policy, has released district-level climate projections for the northeastern states. The projections for 2021 to 2050 indicate a warmer and wetter future with an increase in heavy rainfall events. The maximum temperature for summer and winter are projected to increase by 1 degree Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius in a majority of districts of northeast India.
This is particularly important from an agriculture point of view. It has implications for crops, but definitely, crops like wheat, for example, are extremely sensitive to the winter temperatures. So any changes would mean, an implication for the productivity of these systems. So food production also gets impacted.
By 2030, the number of rainy days is projected to increase in the region by up to 24 days. The maximum increase is projected in Sikkim. Similarly, the Nagaland Climate Change Action Plan predicts a temperature increase of 1.6 to 1.8 degrees Celsius and rainfall by 15 to 20% between 2020 and 2050 in the state. As with mainland India, deforestation and land use change are also accelerating climate change in the northeast. The region has lost around 4,350 square kilometers of primary forest within 2 decades. This rampant deforestation can cause landslides and drying up of natural springs. All this should have set alarm bells ringing across all agencies, but even now, there is very little effort to identify these climate risks. The main reason for this is lack of data points and studies from the region.
Still, it does become a little challenging to say forecast weather and project climate, primarily because what you need to do these climate projections is very accurate observational data. However, if you compare the number of automatic or generally weather observation stations in the mountains versus the plains, they're definitely much lesser in the mountains.
Continuous environmental disruptions in northeast India are affecting the livelihoods of the communities. Agriculture, which the majority of the people have been dependent upon for centuries, has been one of the worst hit.
Agriculture is severely compromised. Last year, again, I was in a subdivision near Kaziranga, and that district officially was drought hit. Okay, the district was drought hit, but the water released from Nagaland flooded the subdivision in Assam. Water remained in the farms for 3 to 4 weeks, which meant everything that was grown was gone. In light of these, people are noticing. There are a lot of stories you will see of drought-resistant, flood resistant crops that are being used. ICAR and Agricultural Research, Rice Research Institute are doing work. What the problem here is that the scale of damage and the work that is being done is not even comparable. Like 90,000 hectares of crops were damaged in June, in just 1 month, between May and June.
Many people in the region who cannot cope with the cycle of flood and drought that hits them every year are migrating to other places. This creates many climate refugees from the region.
Within Northeast India, there are again people who are displaced by the erosion of land by rivers. In fact, it's thousands of hectares which has been lost. So many people are forced to seek a living in the big cities. So there is a migration of people from rural areas to urban areas. People who have no agricultural land left, so they are forced to seek employment as laborers in the urban centers. So that is another kind of migration we see as well. So climate refugee is a term, I think it's very relevant to Assam and the entire Northeast.
Every year, whenever you see a flood, when you see numbers of 10,000, 20,000 villages being destroyed, a lot of villages are destroyed completely so that they don't exist because there's no land erosion. And the land literally gets chopped off, like, a knife through butter. So what happens is when your village is completely wiped off, you have no village to go back to, you become almost like a localized refugees. These floods and the devastation that is being caused as a result is also raising question marks on people's legacies and identities, because if you have an Aadhaar card of a village that no longer exists, how do you prove that you are a legal citizen?
Climate change in the Northeast should ideally be a wake-up call for the rest of India. The mainland has been ravaged by heat waves, air pollution, reduced rainfall, and the destruction of green cover. Extreme weather events threaten to disrupt delicate ecosystems of the Northeast, and this may come at a cost to us all. Building a climate-resilient ecosystem which has the ability to anticipate, absorb, accommodate, and recover from the effects of climate disaster is the best way out.